Your local radio station.
Llanelli Talk Radio.
It's Friday, May the 7th. Welcome along to our coverage of the Senedd elections 2021. Joining me in the studio today is Gwenoro Jones, former MP for Carmarthenshire and our political analyst. We'll be bringing you all the results as they come in, along with interviews with the candidates involved in the election process.
Your stories, your platform. This is Llanelli Talk Radio.
Welcome along. My name's Alan Evans. This is Llanelli Talk Radio.
I'm with Leslie Gilbert in the arcade, Stepney Arcade in Llanelli. Leslie, elections coming up, May the 6th. Lee Waters, Helen Mary Jones, here we are in Llanelli. We've just walked through the streets and shop after shop is closed. Some big names, Jenkins Cafe, closed. A lot of building work going on, raffles being knocked down, YMCA, council involved in developing flats, apartments. We spoke to an architect who lived here for a long time. He's gone off, he's made a lot of money in London. He's seen developments in lots of really nice towns across the UK. And he's saying, the council really, it's not their business to do this. They shouldn't be doing this. They should be fixing what's broken, not what isn't broken. You know, they should be have a plan for this town and bring in some greenery, some fresh ideas, renovate, change things around. Would you agree with that?
Very much so. There is an organisation called Living Streets, and I was involved some years ago with the redevelopment of an area of Kingston upon Thames, and we asked these to come in and look at a specific area, and they looked at us and they gave us suggestions. Example, Stepney Street. It isn't inviting. It has no trees in it. It has one big one in the centre. There's nothing to bring you to the town. Businesses won't invest if the local authorities will not invest in the structure of the town. They have no need to do. Developers will come in and do the work for them. Yeah. They don't need to buy buildings up and say they're good at it. They are worse at it, authorities. And I've seen it over the years.
What the architect is saying is take the new arcade they're proposing to build. What he's saying is, look, we just don't have the businesses to fill the existing shops. Why have row after row of closed shops in the town centre and then bring in new shops? Doesn't make sense, does it?
No, it doesn't at all. But not only shops, they're talking about building more offices into that. In this town, at the back of this shop, I can walk around and see 3 or 4 empty buildings. Why do we need more? But
do you think that, I don't know if you've spoken to Helen Mary Jones, Plaid Cymru's sort of agenda manifesto, Labour's manifesto, Labour claimed to be, the Socialist Party, Workers' Party, representing people, business owners and so on, people who are working their way up. Plaid Cymru have got their agenda of devolution in independent Wales. We are big enough to go it alone. We should have our own currency, our own borders, our own destiny within our own grasp. Any of those messages resonate with you, or would you like to hear them talking far more about the economy, locality, getting things right here in Llanelli?
They should go out and ask the people who earn the money to create the jobs, not sit there. Let's be honest, a lot of them have never run a business. They wouldn't know how to run a business. And they wouldn't know how to produce money. They know how to spend it with crazy ideas, but they never ask the people.
Do you think that we need a sort of almost a new politics in Wales where we get away from this first past the post, only three colours, blue, red and sort of Plaid Cymru in Wales. Do you think we need newer parties? I mean, we've got Reform, we've got Abolish the Assembly, we've got Propel, we've got Gwlad. Do you think there is a need for new politics, new voices, new ways of thinking and doing politics?
Yes and no. What they need to do is ask the people, like this new development, did they put a show on in town of the development, what they're proposing? Did you see one? No. Everybody says that. When
so
we
more
did
consultation, and you're saying you weren't consulted as a business owner in Llanelli. You really weren't, privy to any of the plans.
No. All it was, I was told, if you want to see, look online.
Right.
Not everyone, and I'm one of those people, is a dinosaur as far as a computer is concerned.
Yeah.
I know how to click on it, but I don't know about much more.
Yeah. You've come here. You've invested here. I know what this building was like. You've transformed it. You've filled it with your business, your life, really, with your partner. Are you optimistic for the future for yourselves in business here, or are you going to sort of, can you see the writing on the wall that this will be yet another empty shop in a few years' time?
No, I don't think so. I think if our so-called politicians, and I use that so-called because I worked with politicians in Kingston upon Thames for 20 years, and we worked together. We spoke together.
Yeah.
They didn't arrive once a year or when there was an election and held their hand up and this is my flag.
Yeah.
It's not about politics. It's about working together and producing a plan. I've asked umpteen people, politicians, is there a town plan for Llanelli? And they looked at me as if I'd gone mad. Towns have town plans. Where's the one for Llanelli?
It's a good question. One we'll ask them. Leslie Gilbert, thank you very much for speaking to us.
It's a pleasure.
We now have Steffan Ryszewski, the Welsh Conservative candidate for Llanelli for MS, on the phone. Welcome along, Steffan.
Hi, Alan. Thanks for having me.
No problem. We just heard from Leslie Gilbert, a businessman in Llanelli Town Centre. He's in the Stepney Arcade there, and he says politicians come along when it's election time. They hold their flags, they make a bit of excitement, and they don't really answer the question. They don't have a plan. He's saying there is no plan for Llanelli. He's desperately asking for a plan for the town centre. He says it's not inviting, it's not welcoming. He's really struggling, as a businessman to communicate, to get his message across. What would you say to somebody like Leslie Gilbert, and if you were to get voted in, what would you do? What would your plan be for Llanelli Town Centre?
Yeah, and I think that's a very poignant point, actually, that Leslie's raised. Look, we've had Plaid, Labour, Independents running council / being elected as your MPs or as your members of the Senedd for goodness knows how long now. The same old things aren't going to work. We have to look at new things, and I, as the candidate, put forward what I think is a credible plan for the town centre, working with the potential new police and crime commissioner, depending on that goes, on Sunday. And first of all, we do need to see a stop of people misusing or abusing drugs in the town centre. It's putting people off coming to the town. And when I've spoken to elderly people, they're frightened to actually come into the town centre. And that's one thing. The second thing, especially during COVID, look, let's not beat around the bush. The town centre was struggling before COVID came along. This has effectively been a catalyst towards it. So I have said, and my party have said, that we will abolish business rates for small businesses. And I, as a candidate, would like to see rent relief for those businesses to help them through, as we've seen from other councils. But unfortunately, this Plaid Independent Council haven't been forthcoming with that.
We see in Llanelli now, we look at sort of 1 in 3 shops is closed. It looks pretty derelict. It looks depressed, right? And yet the council now are taking... We spoke to an architect, Peter Williams, who runs a big business in London. He's been all over the world. He's worked with some of the big towns and he's put things into place. They look beautiful. They attract people in. he says we should not be knocking down these old buildings like the Castle and the Black Lion and so on. These are heritage buildings that we should be reutilising, not flattening them. I know the council are doing it with the YMCA, but Peter was very critical of the council coming in and building this new arcade with these businesses coming in, when he is saying, look, focus on what's already there. Get that right. Make these shops available for pop-up stalls, for people rent-free so they can sell their wares, become entrepreneurs, start a business. Is that something you'd like to see?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know it's perhaps people think it's easy for me to say because I'm not elected, but hopefully if I am elected, I do think, and I think I heard on the call just now that mentioned that these people aren't business owners. They're not people who know how to run a business or how to keep a business going, the vast majority of them. So we need to see more people, especially in the council level, who know how to run a business. And to be honest, I would say there are people who know the town, because what we see at the moment is Carmarthen gets a lot and a fair whack of stuff into their town centre, and you see that doing reasonably well. But then our town centre, Llanelli, has been left to ruin. So as far as I can remember, for about 10, 15 years now, it's been a gradual decline. Okay. So we do need to see more investment there, but we need to safeguard the heritage sites as well, that are part of our history, our culture, and what it means of being a Llanelli person. Yeah. But then we do need to support the businesses that are there by giving them these things such as the rent relief or abolishing business grants, because that way, if we're not keeping what we've got now, how can we expect to attract anyone in the future?
We've got Gwynoro Jones, a former MP, in the studio with us, and he might want to ask you a question. Gwynoro?
Hi, Steffan. I think we met during the last election. General election.
We did.
I remember that well. If I may move a bit away from slightly from the economic situation in the towns, and it is dire. Very dire in Llanelli. Swansea is not much better, but to be fair, they are trying to improve things in the Kingsway and things of that kind, but still, they are struggling as well. The out-of-town places, mind, they are thriving, and that has been part of the problem, I'm sure. But that's not my question. What do you reckon the Tories, your party, is going to do in Wales overall? What's the mood? What's the feeling? Was it a positive campaign? Are you feeling a bit bullish about it all?
Just touching the first point on and I'll now come on to the election. The out-of-town stuff, it's free parking. That's what brings them in, and free parking brings them into the out-of-town. But we'll perhaps discuss that at another point. Yeah. The election, we're positive. We're upbeat. I was the candidate in 2016 for the Assembly in Llanelli. We're in a much better position than what we were then. I think our vote seems to be holding up from general election levels, but that's only based on a very small sample at the moment. So we are bullish. We're hoping that we can make some inroads, especially in North Wales like we did, and North East Wales like we did in 2019. There's a positive mood. I think we've run a good campaign. We've given people a choice to show that the same old 22 years of Labour dominance in Wales won't bring out different results if they keep voting the same way. And I think we put that positive vision that will see us and hopefully see us get over the line today.
Did you find campaigning difficult because of the COVID restrictions?
Absolutely, that's without a question. It was difficult, and it still is difficult to gauge how our messages were going down, because we couldn't knock doors. All we could do was perhaps get on the phones and ring people. We could knock doors towards the latter end of the campaign, yes, but it's always difficult when you don't have that face-to-face contact with people. But I must say that people were, once the restrictions were lifted, they were willing to engage, listen. And I think there was a lot of optimism, especially about the vaccine programme that the UK government has procured for the whole United Kingdom. So there was a lot of positivity towards that.
Steffan Ryszewski of the Welsh Conservatives, thank you very much for speaking to us, and we might catch up with you later and see how you're doing. You never know. You might just get in there.
Well, you never know. And like I said, we keep going.
As they say, don't panic.
your local radio station.
We are Llanelli Talk Radio.